Have you ever noticed how some people seem unstoppable? They walk into a room and everyone pays attention. They chase opportunities and actually catch them. They build lives that look impossible from the outside. And meanwhile, others work just as hard, sometimes even harder, yet stay stuck in the same cycle year after year. Why is that? It's not luck, it's not connections, it's not talent. The real difference comes down to one thing, one question. A single question that, once you understand it, reshapes everything about the way you think, act, and live. And the crazy part? Most people go their whole lives without ever asking it. Think about this. Every decision you make, every action you take, every risk you avoid or accept, it all comes down to the questions running inside your head. Most people ask small questions. How can I get through today? How do I pay this bill? What if I fail? And guess what? Small questions create small answers. But there's one question that flips the game completely. Let me show you a story. In 2008, there was a young man living in a tiny apartment, completely broke, drowning in debt, and working a job he hated. He asked himself the same questions every day. How do I survive this week? How do I make rent? And all that thinking got him was more survival. Until one day, out of frustration, he asked something different. Not, how do I survive, but, what would I do if success was guaranteed?
That single question lit a fire. It forced him to imagine a life without fear, without excuses. It made him realize he'd been living in reaction mode instead of creation mode. Fast forward 10 years, he became a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, best-selling author, and someone who now inspires millions. Not because of luck, not because of talent, but because he changed the question. So here's the truth. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. Think about it. Every breakthrough, every invention, every movement in history started with a bold question. The light bulb? Edison asked, how can we bring light to the darkness without fire? Airplanes? The Wright brothers asked, what if humans could fly? Even the device you're watching this video on exists because someone asked, how do we connect the world instantly? Questions are the gateway to possibilities, and yet most people use them wrong. They ask questions that limit instead of expand. Why me? What if I can't? What will people think? Imagine how much those questions cost you. Opportunities you didn't take, risks you didn't dare, dreams you didn't chase. But here's the shift. Instead of asking, what if I fail? You ask, what if I succeed? Instead of asking, why me? You ask, why not me? Instead of asking, what if I can't? You ask, how can I? Do you feel the difference? It's like opening a locked door. The one question that changes everything is this: what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Sit with that for a second. Really let it sink in. Fear is the silent killer of dreams. It's not lack of resources. It's not lack of time. It's not lack of intelligence. It's fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of the unknown. But when you ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? You strip fear of its power. You step outside the prison of excuses and into a world where possibilities multiply. Look back at your own life. How many things have you wanted to do but didn't because of fear? That message you never sent, that opportunity you never chased, that business you never started, that person you never asked out. And what if, just once, you had asked the right question? Imagine if at 18 you had asked, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Maybe you'd have chosen a different career. At 25, maybe you'd have taken that leap to start your dream project.
At 30, maybe you'd have moved to that city you always wanted. How different would your life look right now? And here's what's wild. People who achieve greatness are not fearless. They just ask better questions. Oprah once said, "The biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams." Do you think she got there by asking, "What if I fail?" No. She asked, "What's the next brave step I can take?" Steve Jobs didn't ask, "What if no one buys it?" He asked, "How can we create something so revolutionary that people don't even know they need it yet?" Elon Musk didn't ask, "What if rockets are too risky?" He asked, "What if we could make humans a multi-planetary species?" Greatness doesn't start with answers, it starts with questions. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think success is about having the right plan, the perfect strategy, the perfect timing. But no plan survives without the right mindset. And your mindset is shaped by your questions. So let's play a game right now. Think of your biggest goal, the one thing you've been putting off. Got it? Now ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Maybe you'd finally speak up. Maybe you'd launch that business. Maybe you'd quit that toxic job. Maybe you'd post that video you've been holding back. That's your answer. That's your path. That's the version of you waiting on the other side of fear. And here's something most people don't realize. Fear never goes away. You'll never feel ready. You'll never have zero doubt. But courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action in spite of fear. And the one question that changes everything pushes you toward courage every single time. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That sounds great, but my situation is different. But is it? History is filled with ordinary people who asked extraordinary questions and changed their lives. J.K. Rowling was a single mother on welfare, rejected by 12 publishers. She could have asked, "What if I'm not good enough?" Instead, she asked, "What if my story helps someone escape reality for a moment?" And now, Harry Potter is a global phenomenon. Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team. He could have asked, "What if I'm just not cut out for this?" Instead, he asked, "How can I turn this setback into fuel?" And he became the greatest of all time. Every time you change the question, you change the outcome. So let me ask you, what are you afraid of right now? Judgment? Failure? Losing money? Looking stupid? And now the real question, what would you do if you weren't afraid? The truth is, most people won't take action. They'll nod, agree, maybe even feel inspired for a few minutes, and then go back to their old patterns. Don't let that be you. Because here's the uncomfortable reality. Fear is expensive. It costs you time. It costs you energy. It costs you dreams. It's the invisible tax you pay for living small. But courage? Courage pays interest. Courage multiplies. One brave move creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. Think of it like dominoes. The first action might feel impossible, but once you knock it over, the rest fall in sequence. The book gets written, the channel grows, the relationship deepens, the business scales, and it all started with one simple question. What would I do if I wasn't afraid? This question doesn't just change decisions, it changes identity. It forces you to step into the version of yourself that exists beyond fear. The one who is bold, the one who takes risks, the one who creates instead of waits. And once you've tasted that, you can't go back. So here's my challenge to you. Today, right now, ask yourself that question about one thing in your life, just one, and then do it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for permission.
don't wait for confidence. Confidence comes after action, not before it. And if you need proof, look at every person you admire. They didn't start confident. They started scared. But they asked the right question, and they moved anyway. You have that same power. So the next time you feel stuck, the next time you're hesitating, the next time fear whispers in your ear, stop and ask, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? Because that question doesn't just change decisions, it changes your destiny. And maybe, just maybe, it changes everything.